we greet our friends everywhere with Chapter 20 of Dr. Ida, a story of Ida Scudder. This is another in the series, Stories of Great Christians, and comes to you from the Moody Bible Institute of Chicago.
Christian women in the United States and Great Britain were attempting to raise $2 million to complete the medical center at Vellore. The year was 1922, and I was home, back in the United States, on furlough to help. If we raised the $2 million, the Rockefeller family promised us an additional $1 million. But there was a deadline, December 31st. And we were far from our goal. I had always dreamed large dreams, and I traveled the length and breadth of this land, pleading, praying, promoting. But this time I wondered if we hadn't expected too much. We were so sure that this was God's will for his work in India. But we were only humans. Had we substituted our hopes and dreams? Were we trying to make our will God's will? I no longer knew. Mrs. Lucy Peabody was the chief person in the United States who had headed up the drive, who had visited India and captured our vision, and had been sharing it with everyone she met. Mrs. Peabody was in California. I was in New York. Time was running out, and we talked about it by telephone.
Are you hearing me all right, Ida?
Yes, Lucy, it's a good connection.
I hear you well, too. How is it going in the East?
You heard that the Laura Spelman Rockefeller Fund extended the deadline for 1 month.
Yes, but that only means we have until the end of January. How's the money coming in?
Quite a few small donations are being received, mostly from college students. Mostly contributions of $1 or $2.
God bless the students.
But the treasurer says we're about $50,000 short of our goal.
Oh, as bad as that. I don't think we're going to make it, Ida.
We can build a lot with what we have, Lucy.
Yes, but why not complete the project? Why not do something significant and lasting for Christ's cause while we're at it?
You don't need to convince me.
No, I know that. I've done just about all I can out here. Oh, I do have an appointment tomorrow to visit a lady. She's 80 years old, bedridden, and lives in La Jolla. And I understand she doesn't care one whit about missions.
It doesn't sound very promising.
Well, I promised to go, so I'll go. Her name is Ellen Scripps, Miss Ellen Scripps. Pray for me, dear.
I'll pray. We'll all pray.
Care to see the paper, dear?
Thank you, Mother. All the news that's fit to print. Good old New York Times, February 4th, 1923.
I do know the date, Ida. Read me the headlines.
Mother, look. We've done it. Listen. $3 million assured to schools in East.
Oh.
Church women win $2 million campaign, and Rockefellers give the rest.
Ida, how good God is to us.
Oh, Mother, how little faith we had. What happened was Miss Ellen Scripps, the lady who wasn't interested in missions, not only listened carefully to Lucy Peabody, but asked her to write everything down so she could study it, and then mailed a check for $50,000. A check which was received on January 31st, the actual deadline day. The money had been raised in order to build and equip a Christian medical college which would have university affiliation. That affiliation would not come until 1941, the year of Pearl Harbor. Building and equipment costs were higher than projected, Purchasing land proved to be more expensive than planned, and eventually we knew the college had to become coeducational, not just a college for women, but for men as well. But during the intervening years, the new hospital was built and the school enlarged, and every day I was reminded how a Christian hospital is different.
Doctor, why do you not ever become angry with me?
People here all look so happy, even though so many are sick.
Don't you know why? It is because of their God, because they are like Jesus.
Oh, it is so beautiful here, Ida.
If God's footstool is so beautiful, Mother, what must God's throne be like?
Oh, what a remarkable thought, Ida. And true. Oh, how I despise being old. If it weren't for this rheumatism, I'd be as young as any of you.
As long as you feel that way about it, you're not old.
Did you know that when the board accepted your father for missionary service, they didn't want to accept me? They thought the climate of India would be too rigorous for a person of my delicate health.
And Dad said he'd take that chance.
Oh, yes, and I'm glad he did. Oh, I wish he could have lived to see this day, with so many more followers of Jesus Christ in South India, and with a ministry of healing he would have loved. I've told you how we met, haven't I?
Tell me again.
It was a Sunday morning in 1860, and I was sitting in a tiny congregational church in Northfield, Massachusetts. There was a young man sitting in the pew across the aisle from me, a young man I'd seen before. He passed a note to me during the service.
How terrible.
It had my name on the outside, Sophia Weld. And inside, there was a very brief message, 2 John, verse 5.
And you looked it up?
Oh, immediately. And now I beseech thee, lady, that we love one another.
How absolutely romantic.
And I sent him a note in return. And my message was also a verse from Scripture. Ruth 1, 16 and 17.
Entreat me not to leave thee, or to return from following after thee. For whither thou goest, I will go.
And I haven't regretted a single minute of it.
Mother died on August 30, 1925. She had celebrated her 86th birthday and had spent 63 years of her life in India. I had come to India, reluctantly, remember, to be with her because she was so ill. What would my life have been like if I had not come? Annie Hancock also died, my former schoolmate at Northfield Academy, and she died in great pain of cholera. And so in the same year, I lost two of my dearest friends.
Mahatma Gandhi is here. He's coming.
Welcome to Vellore, Mr. Gandhi.
I am gratified, Dr. Scudder. Might we find a quieter place to speak before I go inside to address your students?
We can sit in this little arbor.
Oh, this is beautiful. I would have preferred, though, that you and all of the students were wearing a khadi, or Indian homespun cloth.
I know you do not approve of colorful saris and dresses.
I prefer the symbol of simplicity.
I am happy you came to visit us, even though we do not appear as you would like us. I am not accustomed to anyone telling me what my girls shall wear.
I have heard that you are a strong woman, and that you're bringing strength to our Indian women, too, and that is good. I only hope your girls will not just strut about, but that they will always remember their high calling to service.
I hope so, too. And I hope you will tell them that.
And I intend to, Dr. Amar. We have much in common, you know.
I have not spent 6 years in prison, as you did.
Oh, that is true, but I want to create a free nation by creating free men. I want to bring new life to India. I believe that has been your goal, too.
Yes.
But we have different motivations, different backgrounds, and different methods, but we do have the same goal. And I am not unmindful of what you Christians, who are truly Christians, have done and are doing for my people. Thank you.
Independence came to India on August 15th, 1947, but it was a bittersweet day because the dream of a united country was stillborn as the Muslim-Hindu antagonism resulted into the division of Pakistan and India. Gandhi, the gentle prophet of nonviolence, was himself assassinated only 1 year later, and by a Hindu. But God had granted me the opportunity to see the transition, to be part of the history which had been made. There was a Jubilee celebration in 1950, certainly not of my doing, but it did give me a chance to review what God had wrought during the 50 years I had spent as a missionary in India. He had wrought so much. I had been one doctor. Now we had 43 on the college staff and 44 in the hospital. From a single patient, we now served $200,000 a year in the hospitals and mobile clinics. From a single-room dispensary, we now had a 484-bed hospital. From Salome, the untrained nurse, we now had 108 nurses on our staff. And what had God wrought in medicine? We had used Halfkind's vaccine for cholera, but now saw it yield 2 hypertonic saline infusions. Tuberculosis to streptomycin, cancer to radium therapy, malaria and plague diminished by the use of DDT, and even leprosy arrested by sulfone drugs. And what had God wrought and changed lives? Who could count them? Who should count them? They were there. The gospel had transformed men, women, and children. Oh, there was still much to do, but God had been at work, and he had allowed me to share in it.
Dr. Ida Sophia Scudder died on May 24th, 1960, in her 90th year. 200,000 people walked in the procession from the church where her father had preached to the cemetery which was 2 miles away. One of the Indian pastors said,
"She did what she did because of what she was. And she was what she was because of what she believed. Faith without works is dead."
I have only followed the gleam. I was challenged, I prayed, and God showed me what I should do. But he showed me only one step, and I took that step. As I look back, I am amazed at the lack of planning and forethought. I know I did not plan for large future developments. I only took one step at a time, the step that God wanted me to take.
And so we conclude the final chapter of Dr. Ida, the story of Ida Scudder. Nancy Derrick was heard as Ida Scudder. Others in the cast included Rex Brenner, Carol Luck, Myron Canaday, Louise Kearley, Mary Miller, Flo Schmid, Walter Carlson, Myrna Grant, Mickey O'Donnell, Lynn Hansen, and Jean Gaverluck. Sound effects were created by Tim Mayfield and Larry Boyle. Music by Ralph Colburn. Engineer, Dave Kinchelow. Dr. Ida was written for radio by John Gillies and produced by Jim Grant. Your announcer, David Fox. This has been another in the series, Stories of Great Christians, and comes to you from the Moody Bible Institute of Chicago.